Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a guide to the potato processor in Farming Simulator 25. This is going to be a guide for all platforms, so whether you play on PC, Mac, PlayStation, or Xbox, this is going to be the guide for you. And this is going to be base game as well, so no crazy mods or anything like that. I am using a modified truck to hold more potatoes to help us get more in the factory at one time. But other than that, there's no other mods or anything like that. And everything will work just the same. I do tend to talk a little fast. If you need to slow me down, you can use the YouTube controls down below to do so. Also, make sure you check out the first pinned comment if there is one down below. It'll have anything in it that I missed or any tips or tricks or anything like that as well. Or if anything changes in a future update, it'll be put down there. Also, there are time codes down below that will have different places for you to skip ahead to if you're looking for something specific. The specific topics we are going to cover today are going to be placing and buying the potato processor, the production inputs for the potato processor, using the potato processor, the products the potato processor produces, how to move pallets, and finally the profitability of the potato processor. So there you go. All those different topics are all being covered down below, so that way you can skip ahead if you don't need the whole video. But anyhow, let's dive into it. So buying and placing the potato processor. I have one placed down here which we're going to use for demonstration purposes, but if you want to see if there's one on the map and you don't want to place down your own, you can go in the menu. The easiest way to do is go down to productions, go to available, and see if there's one on here, which there unfortunately is not. I'm actually going to jump over to the bakery though, just to show you how to buy a production in general. I know it's not the potato processor, but the process is the same. So if you did have a potato processor, you would click on it in here, then hit visit, or you could also find it on the map and then click on it here and then hit visit. Then you should spawn basically on top of this little wrench icon right there. You're going to go up to it and you can see the controls in the upper left hand corner. It says R to buy the production point. If you don't have those up there, you can hit F1 to toggle those on or off on PC. If you're on PlayStation or Xbox or console of some kind, you can go into your general settings and turn your help window on or off in here, so that way you can see the controls. But we're going to hit R there, and it's $150,000 to buy this one, not the potato processor, but for this, and then we have it purchased. If we want to sell it, we just need to simply go into the build menu and then click on the bakery, and then we can hit sell right here. We will take a loss on it. You can see we took a pretty significant loss, bought it for $150,000, sold it for $70,000. And if we come back up to it, we can buy it again later on if we change our minds. Now let's hop back over here. We have our potato processor plant here. We can place down our own. If we go into the build mode, under productions right here under factories, we have the potato processing plant. We can place one down just like that. And then if we want to sell it, we can click on it and sell it. It'll give you the full price as a refund if you sell it before you exit the build menu. But if I exit the build menu, go back into it, and now I go to sell it, it's only going to give me half of the money back about. So just be aware of that. But yeah, there we go. We will sell that off, and I'm just going to paint over all of this so it looks more uniform, and that's how you buy and sell the potato processing plant. Now let's talk about the actual inputs for this. So obviously, number one, we have potatoes. So if you want to learn how to grow potatoes, by the way, I'll put a card up on your screen right now, and that'll take you to my guide video on how to grow potatoes. But in terms of the potato processor, we're going to want to look for this little dump icon right here. This is where we're going to put all of our inputs in. So for potatoes, I have a big truck here with 1,000,000 liters of potatoes. I know that's the unrealistic capacity there. I'm just going to hit I to unload. And just like that, I just dumped a whole bunch of potatoes in there, and now I can move the truck out of our way. So pretty simple. Now the next thing we need to put in here is some different types of oil. So it does take, we have right here, sunflower oil, olive oil, and finally canola oil. So it takes 3 different types of oil. If you want to learn how to produce these oils, I'll put a card up on the screen right now. That'll take you to the oil mill guide that I have out. That'll talk about how to produce these various oils. So there you go. But all you're going to do is take the pallets and put them over top of this dump icon, and they will disappear. I'm using super strength to move them. You'll have to use something else to move them or enable super strength. I will talk about all that sort of stuff when we get to the moving pallets portion of this video later on. So just be aware of that. But now we have everything inside of our production point. So now we need to actually talk about how to use it. So there's a couple ways to access the production menu. One, you just go up to that wrench icon, the same one that you're going to use to buy and sell the production point. Well, buy the production point at least, if you're buying the one that's on a map. And you're going to come up to it and hit R, and it'll take you into the production menu. The other way to do it, if we come into our main menu, this is where it normally would take you, is the map. You can click on this guy here on the map, and then you can hit manage. It'll take you into that menu. Or you can just go down to your factories, and if you're on available, you're going to go over to owned, and then you'll see the potato processing plant there, and then you have your factory over here, which is great. Now let's talk about this menu in here. There's a lot going on in here for us to talk about. So first off, we have our 3 products here. Well, we actually only am producing potato chips, but we have 3 different recipes for them, which we'll talk about the difference between those in a minute. And what we can do is we can activate these guys right here. So you can see it's inactive right now. If I hit activate, it's going to say running, and it'll keep going until it runs out of materials. Then it'll say materials missing, and then it'll put a little red exclamation point up over here by the icon. But it's not going to do that because it has everything it needs right now. I'm just going to go ahead and deactivate it again, just like that, which you can do down below. So if they're kind of highlighted like that, you can see they're running, and then deactivated, they're going to be kind of dull. The image is going to be dull. So there you go. Now over here, we have incoming materials: canola oil, olive oil, potatoes, and sunflower oil. So with all these incoming materials, and same with the outgoing material, actually, we have how many liters we have in storage, and then how many liters we're allowed to have in storage in terms of the capacity, and then what percent full we are. So we have 1,000 liters of canola oil out of 12,000 liters, and that means that we're 8% full of that. We're 100% full, or pretty close to that, full of potatoes here. We lost a little bit there because we started producing potato chips. Down here, outgoing products, we have potato chips, and then how many we have out of the 50,000 liter capacity. And then down here, we already talked about the status. Then we have the cycles per month, cost per month, and then finally we have the recipe down here. So the cycles per month is tied to the recipe. So the cycles per month is how many times this recipe is going to happen every month. So this recipe means 100 liters of potatoes plus 5 liters of sunflower oil is going to make 30 liters of potato chips. So this recipe is going to happen 240 times per month. And then the cost per month is $120. So if I have this activated, it's going to bill us $120 every month to keep this thing running. So that's just how that's all going to work for us. Now, if you are running 1 day per month, this is going to happen every day. If you're running 2 days per month, this is obviously going to happen every 2 days, and so on and so forth. So just be aware of that. Now, the recipes we have 100 potatoes and 5 sunflower oil to 30 chips. Then we have 100 potatoes and 5 canola oil to 30 chips. And then finally, we have 100 potatoes and 4 olive oil to 30 chips right there. So that's everything you need to know about in here. Well, actually, one more thing. Sorry, before I forget. We have the output mode. So you can see all of these are set to storing. Now, if you change one, if I hit change output mode, they're all going to change at the same time because there's actually only one product to output. But we have storing, as you saw, selling, and then distributing. Storing is going to keep building up the amount of potato chips in here until there's enough to create a pallet. Then it'll spawn a pallet. And then it'll keep doing that until there's no more space for pallets, and then slowly fill up in here. If they go to selling, every hour it's going to sell the potato chips we have in here. Just beware, it's going to take a 20 to 40% cut from you if you do automatic selling. And then lastly, we have distributing, which distributing does is it takes all of the potato chips you have and automatically moves them to a different production facility that requires potato chips as an incoming material. If there was one, there currently is not, so there's nowhere for them to go. So if you set it to distributing, it'll just fill up in here and not spawn any pallets. So just be aware of that. But yeah, we'll leave it on that. That's fine right there. And that is everything about that. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward some time, get some potato chips produced out here, and I'll bring you guys back in a minute. All right, it's been about 24 hours, and we have a few pallets of potato chips out here. There was a couple more. I accidentally set them to selling. But anyhow, yeah, we got some potato chips. So here's what the pallets look like. They look nice, like little boxed crates of potato chips. So there you go. Now, the main thing to do with these is just to sell them. There's really not a lot else to do without selling them. That's just kind of what you do. I will put a card up on your screen right now that goes into a little bit more detail on how to sell products like this. However, basically what you're going to do is you're going to transport them to a sell point that takes them. So go into your menu here, go to your prices. Let's go down here and find ourselves the potato chips. There we are. And then just take them to one of the places that has a sell price over here and then drop them off, and you'll get that per 1,000 liters. So there you go. That's what you do with them. Now we're going to talk about moving pallets. So I'm going to play a pre-recorded segment for you that I put in all my production videos. That's going to talk about the basics to moving pallets, and then I'll bring you guys back in to talk about the profitability. To be able to move pallets around in-game, you have to be able to use a pallet fork of some kind on one of these various pieces of equipment, which I'll show you how to do that. Obviously, you can enable super strength if there's a mod out there for that, or if you're on PC and you enable the console commands, then you should be able to activate that. That won't work for console, though. If you do want to learn how to do that on PC, I do have a link to a video down below in the description that will help you enable console commands for your PC game. That way you can just enable super strength. But if you are without super strength or on console, let's talk about the different ways to do this. So, first off, we have a tractor with a front loader attachment. We have a front loader. We have a telehandler, a wheel loader, a skid steer, and a forklift. Now, if you're lifting like very large items or like a lot of forestry stuff, like some of the forestry pallets, like in terms of like wood beams and stuff like that, you may want you may want a wheel loader to do it. Otherwise, a wheel loader might be a little overkill for you, but you can find all these in the store. So I'll show you this. You can also check on your farm if, let's say, well, for example here, one of the starting tractors is this guy on a lot of the maps. So if you go into here, this guy does have the ability to add a front loader attachment. If you see this in the store, you can hit yes, it'll put it in there. Then you want to confirm your customizations down below if you're customizing it at the shop. Otherwise, you can just go in and you can check anyone and you'll see if they have a front loader attachment or not. This one should. There you go, front loader attachment. Make sure you say yes to that. You can either do quickie, hour, or no for those as well. Now, whatever design you decide to go with there, go back out of here, go down to front loaders here, and then pick the correct one. And then you'll see down here there's a horsepower requirement. Whatever horsepower your tractor is, try to get the one closest to your horsepower. You don't want to have this massive one here if it's not going to work for your tractor. You also can go in here, and if I hit oh, it's not going to be on there, darn it. Sometimes they'll show up with customizations below to be able to add a front loader. This one actually will do it here because this one has a specific one, but sometimes you'll see that and you can just do that. So if that's available, that's the easiest way to find out what one is designed to go with that. Now, if you're going to buy a front loader, telehandler, wheel loader, or skid steer loader, there's a specific process for that. First, go in here. You can either go in here to look at the dedicated front loaders, dedicated skid steers, dedicated wheel loaders, and then, or excuse me, dedicated telehandlers, dedicated skid steers are down here. And then you need to go to their appropriate category. So for a front loader, you need to go to front loader tools, telehandler, telehandler tools, wheel loader to wheel loader tools, skid steer to skid steer tools. Then go in that respective category, find the pallet fork and purchase that. And then you can hook it up to the front of your vehicle. So let's say I bought this guy right here and I bought all these different parts separately. Let me just show you how to disconnect them real quick. So if I hit Q, that'll disconnect that. And then I can also disconnect this. So if you didn't want to, if you want to use it as a regular tractor, you can also disconnect it. But to connect it, just do it in reverse, line it up, get here, and then you'll see a command down at the bottom to connect. And then just drive up here, and then you can connect here. Now, how to operate these up in the upper left-hand corner. Usually it's mouse controls if you're on PC. It'll be different controls for you if you are on console. But you can see the advanced controls up there in the upper left-hand corner. If I hold down right mouse button, it shows me what those controls are. Left mouse button shows me what those controls are. So that'll be how you can do your controls. Now, finally, if you wanted to buy a forklift, forklifts are also very easy to buy. They're a dedicated unit for this. So if you go in here, just go under forklifts and choose whichever one you would like to buy there. So there you go. That's how you move pallets around on all platforms. All right, here is my productions profitability table, which is linked down below in the description for you. If you guys want to take a look at it. It has all of the productions on it that I've gone through so far. Potato processing plant is actually my last base game production to do a video on, so here we are. But anyhow, yes, let's talk about it here. And if you wanted to download a copy of it and adjust it and make changes to some of the numbers in here, you definitely can do that. So make sure you guys are aware that that's an option for you. But we have the potato processing plant. Then we have 3 recipes: potato chips from canola oil, sunflower oil, and olive oil. And then the inputs for each of those recipes, obviously potatoes and oil, potatoes and oil, potatoes and oil, just their respective oil types. And then we have cycles per month, so 240 cycles per month. Then it's going to take 100 liters of potatoes and 5 liters of canola oil, 105, 104 for the olive oil. And then here are the input costs. So, oh, and actually I need to adjust the profitability, don't I, actually, on this? Yep, I do. We will adjust that here in a second. The profitability is a little bit off here. But anyhow, so $40 of potatoes and $15 of oil, $16 oil, and $17 oil. So not too much difference there. Potatoes are about the same price. This is the price you would get if you sold them yourself instead of putting them into the production. So I use that to kind of calculate the profitability. Then each one of these cycles gives you 30 liters of potato chips, which is valued at $81 if you sold them. So this, though, we need to include, since we are doing this here, we need to include, oh, I did not want to do that. Come on now. We need to include this as well. We're not including the oil cost in that. So that's going to lower our productivity a little bit. Not a lot, but it will lower it a little bit as well. Not minus, plus this right there. And all of these different values, I'll show you on the next sheet here. We have a list of all the values that I'm calculating these based off of. So if you wanted to go in there and change it, you could. And I'll show you that in a second. But you can see here, profitability per cycle, the most profitable is probably canola oil, and then again, you're going to make about $6,300 a month profit, $6,000 a month profit from sunflower oil, and $5,600 from olive oil. And again, it's going to take 20. This is how many liters of each of the inputs you're going to need per month. The good news about the olive oil is you need less olive oil per month, so not even a full pallet of olive oil every month to keep this thing up and running. So that's always nice. And then this is how many liters of potato chips you'd produce every month. So there you guys go. And then used values down here, if you click over to that, these are the used values I'm using for these. These are the average price in normal economy mode. So if you play, I don't know, you play in hard economy or something like that, which I think this is actually a pretty accurate price. But let's say if we go up to like potatoes, for example, if we were potatoes, $400, let's say, I'll write 400 there so I don't forget it. Let's say you're playing easy economy and potatoes are actually worth $650, and it changes it. Or maybe you're playing on hard and they're worth $300. Well, if you change the value of potatoes there, now you can see all of these are more profitable because the potato cost is less now. So it calculates out all the way through the production for you if you change it in here. So it'll go all the way through that. And then the last thing over here, this is just kind of some extra information about the productions. Is the potato processing plant a divided production? It is. Now you might be asking, what in the world is a divided production? And let's go back over to the game itself to talk about that. So the potato processing plant has 3 different production lines: potato chips from sunflower oil, canola oil, and olive oil. Now, if we go to potato chips from canola oil, all these are turned off right now. This one says 240 cycles of this per month. Okay, that's great. If we activate that, we're expecting 240 times this to happen. Now, if we activate this, we're expecting 240 times this to happen. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Since it's a divided production, I now have 2 activated. The cycles per month for both of them are divided by 2. So now each of them is only operating at 120 cycles per month. And then if I activate the third one, now each of them is only divided by 3. So instead of 240, oh gosh, 240 divided by 3, 80 cycles per month. Each one's only doing 80 cycles per month. So just something to be aware of. But regardless of that, potato processor is a great way to make some money and do something with your potatoes and oil. So there you guys go. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.